Good evening, World Wide Web. We are here hanging with Julie Shigekuni. Is that right? Shigekuni. And Julie is here at Barnes Noble today in New Hartford promoting her new book, In Plain View. So why don't we start there? Why don't you tell us a little bit about the book?
Okay. It's a literary thriller, and it focuses on a love triangle. Hiroshi is a professor of Asian American Studies, and he and his wife live together in Southern California. A student comes in from Japan, and she kind of insinuates herself into the relationship. And so the mystery involves what happened to her mother and the nature of her relationship with Dai's husband.
Oh, so love story, yes. Murder mystery type?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's a murder mystery.
I can't wait to read it. I did try to get a copy, but it wasn't for sale yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want each book to stand alone, or do you try to build a body of connections around each book that you write?
Well, it's kind of half and half. So this In Plain View is my fourth novel. My first three don't have really any thematic connection to this book, but I intended this book to be the first in a series so that the wife, Hiroshi's wife, Dai, who narrates this book, is also the narrator of a book that I'm working on right now.
Oh, good.
And the first three. Other than that, my books all in some way begin with something that I don't understand, that I don't fully understand, either involving an element of craft or a mystery from my own life that I bring onto the page in a novel.
Oh, that was one of my questions.
Oh, sorry.
That's good.
I jumped the gun.
So about 20 years ago or so, you published your first book. Is that right?
Was it that long ago? I guess
About
it was.
95.
Yeah, 95. So yeah, you're right.
Did your process of writing change after your first book was published?
It did. I think, books in that, to my mind, are like children. Do you have children?
I do.
Okay, so you have your first baby and it's really precious and you have no idea what it's going to be like to be a parent. And then that first book, Baby, teaches you a lot about the process. So in my case, my first book took like 5, 7, 10, a lot of years to write. And after that, you kind of know how to do it. You know how to be a parent, you know how to write a book. And so the second book had more just to do with my honing in on the subject matter and less worry about that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are you still teaching?
I am. I teach at the University of New Mexico. I teach primarily fiction, and I've been there since 1998. But more recently, I'm teaching online, and I live half-time in Brooklyn and half-time in Albuquerque.
So with that, how are you balancing and juggling and...
My children are growing up. 2 of them are out of the house, and my baby is 16, just turned 16 last month. So it's that in that way it's not as complicated, but it is complicated moving from place to place. I'm here and in New Mexico every month, and so I think mostly it's just a matter of just focusing in on what's right in front of me, and then seeing where that takes me, but trying not to anticipate too much, since it's not really
So how
possible.
do you what do you do to relax, to kind of just recharge, unwind?
I'm actually really good at relaxing. Ask anybody who knows me. I'm primarily a really lazy person, and so if there's nothing to do, I do nothing. It's only when there's some type of a task that I, jump to action and try to do my best.
Well, that's good. That is good.
Yeah, I think I live in a pretty relaxed state, and then I just handle things as they come up. And I mean, the good thing about getting older is that I'm less worried. I used to really worry when I wasn't doing what I thought I needed to be doing. And now I have more time. My children are a little older. And, flying is not that complicated. You just sit there and wait to get to the next place. And so I think I apportion my time differently, and I have a pretty laid-back attitude. I don't put a lot of, I don't cause myself stress, undue stress. And
we all should learn not
I
to.
know there's enough stress in the world,
Yeah,
right?
there is.
I don't compound that with stressors on my own.
So tell us about, are you still doing your documentary videos?
Wow, okay, that's from a while ago. I had one documentary project, and that was during a sabbatical year, 10 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
I received funding from the California Council for the Humanities, and actually that project lies unfinished. I intended to finish it within a year, and I got funding for it to finish it during my sabbatical year, but I had never made a documentary.
Oh.
And so I finished shooting it, but I didn't realize that most of what goes into a documentary takes place after you shoot it. So it's been a learning process, and a lot has happened since I embarked on that project. So I keep kind of trying to bring it back up and failing. But I
think you'll be able to do
yeah,
it.
I just saw James Baldwin's documentary, I'm Not Your Negro. I don't know.
I've heard of that. I've heard of it.
Okay, it was really, really good. But okay, I'm not going to compare myself to James Baldwin, but I can say that it came from 30 pages that he had written on Medgar Evers and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. And the filmmaker brought those 30 pages back and recontextualized. So it got me thinking again about my own documentary project and the need to recontextualize and to go back to that material that was really important to me.
I hope you do. I think it would be great.
Oh, thanks.
What's the hardest scene to write?
In this book or in any book?
In any book or this, it doesn't matter.
I think I'm a rewriter. I'm somebody, I am patient, and I don't really push things until I figure everything comes around, and a lot of writing is observing and allowing those things to happen organically, even though you have to put in the time. So for me, the hardest scene is really the first one. There's something terrifying to me about staring at a blank page and, wondering what's going to happen. And once I accrue a certain number of pages, the story begins to take over. It gives you, clues about where it's going to be, right?
I don't, and I think you have to have a very creative mind to be a writer.
I think you just have to have a lot of discipline, and it's that tenacity of going back as a novelist, going back to the page again and again, and making a commitment to that subject and to following the story through. And once it gets going, it's exciting. It's just there are lapses.
My brother is actually the author of The Family GW, which is the creator of this show. Great. So it's.
I was watching online. I was really excited that you invited me to participate. So thank you.
I'm so happy, though. Yeah. Thank you so much I just joined the team, actually. So
well, thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Thank you for allowing and hanging with us.
Hey. I'm happy
let's see. Other than Barnes Noble, where can someone find your books?
Amazon. I don't know. I kind of hate to say that, but
it's a good place.
Amazon carries all of my books.
And for you personally, what is the best way to promote your books? Is it book signings?
Right here. I'm about to give a reading here in Utica. And, I think for some authors there is funding and, they have everything necessary to make a splash. But you won't find my book unless you're looking for it. And so I do what I can to help it along.
Your favorite childhood book?
Like early childhood picture book or
whatever. What was your favorite?
Oh my goodness, that's really hard.
And did that get you into maybe thinking about? Did you always want to be an author?
Oh my goodness. Okay, a lot of questions here. I really started writing. I had a grandmother who was depressed when I was a child, and so she would go through periods where she and I would interact daily. And then there would be periods where she'd disappear. And during those periods, I would write her letters. And that's how I started to write. And then I grew up in a household where writing was not encouraged. I don't think my parents ever really wanted me to be a writer. But I remember that I read Harriet the Spy, and I was really encouraged and started keeping my spy journal. And I remember my mother found my spy journal and was, shredded it up in front of me and told me that I should, never do that again. So maybe it was a rebellious act that led me to writing. It's changed through the years.
Oh, I'm glad. Oh, good. They're proud of you now, right?
I still think they would have preferred had I chosen something different, but
like a doctor, or,
yeah, maybe something that made more money, or
study.
But I think yes, of course.
Oh, of course. Do you think that having a big ego helps or hurts a writer?
Well, I think it really hurts. I think it hurts not just writers, but I think that everybody has to find ways to maneuver around their ego. I think that you have to, there is definitely a way that an ego can be healthy, but when it gets out of control, I think it can be disastrous.
I agree. And lastly, what's coming up next? I know you're working on the sequel here. Anything else? Any more book
I just
signings?
finished a young adult book. It's called Fistful of Stars, and hopefully that one will be coming out next.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, we're back in the studio. It has been so much fun hanging with Julie Shigekuni today at Barnes Noble in New Hartford. So don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment and let us know what you think of today's show and our guests. You can also check out the guest link below. Remember to subscribe and log in and stay tuned to see who we're hanging with next.